I'd like to begin this morning by thanking the board for this opportunity to be here today. I want to thank everybody who's in attendance. We're here today because on July 24th, 1982, I murdered Esther King and I murdered John Lucy while robbing their home. In the early morning hours of July 24th, I broke into the home of Mrs. King and Mr. Lucy. And while breaking into their home, Esther King and John Lucy were shot and murdered. And there are a lot of people here today, and there are a lot of people who aren't here today, and I'd like to make apologies to all of them. I apologize to Esther King, and I apologize to John Lucy. The trauma, the pain, the loss that you suffered at my hands is irreparable. I'm deeply sorry for having inflicted such trauma upon you. I not only robbed you of your lives, but I robbed you of all the experiences your lives had ahead of them. Family, weddings, graduations, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I robbed you of the joy of being with your family. I robbed your family of the joy and grace of your presence. I failed to appreciate you and value the way every person deserves to be appreciated and valued. I'm truly sorry. I will carry the guilt, the shame, and the remorse for my crimes against you till the end of my days. And I apologize, I'm truly sorry. Every day I wish I could go back and change what happened, but I can't. I can offer my apologies and my sincerest, heartfelt remorse for what I've done. I apologize to Carol Gear, the daughter of Esther King, and the niece of John Lucy. On July 24th, 1982, I murdered Mrs. Gear's mother and her uncle. And I later sold the items I had stole during this crime. And Mrs. Gear was forced to identify those things, the property of her mother, and the trauma of that, and the pain that she must have felt stays with me today. And later, during the court process, I sat silent. I didn't come forward and admit my crimes and admit my responsibility. And I re-traumatized them by putting them through the criminal process and the appeals process. I apologize to Mrs. Gear and to her family. I apologize to Mr. Gear, Carol Gear's husband. Mr. John Gear is a person who discovered these crimes. He came upon the crime scene. And I can't even imagine the trauma that he felt, and the pain, and the shock. He stopped by to check on his mother-in-law and his uncle and came upon the crime scene that I left. And John Lucy was deceased and Mrs. King was still struggling to survive. No person should ever find their family has suffered these crimes or any crimes. And I'm sure this horrible experience has lasted throughout his days. I'm deeply ashamed for the emotional trauma and the anguish that I put Mr. Gear through, and the pain and the sorrow that I brought to his family. I apologize to Sean Gear and Sharon Gear, the grandchildren of Esther King, the grandniece and grandnephew of John Lucy. They were just children when I murdered their family members. And I can't even begin to imagine the pain and the sorrow, the confusion and the anger at the loss of your loved ones in that type of situation that I caused. Grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, they provide a connection to our family history, and I severed that connection. I know my apologies and contrition will never be able to repair the harm I caused, but I offer them sincerely and with heartfelt remorse. I'm truly sorry. I apologize to all of the family and loved ones of Esther King and John Lucy. I'm sorry for my crimes. I apologize to the police, the paramedics, and the first responders who worked to bring justice to Mrs. King and Mr. Lucy. And I apologize to the medical workers at Goddard Hospital, where they brought Mrs. King, who worked on her as she tried to survive. My crimes brought them terrible experiences, and I'm sorry for that. I apologize to Kevin McIntyre and Joseph Shanis, two other individuals whose property I violated that night. I regret my crimes against them. I broke into their cars and I violated their personal space and property. I apologize to my family. I brought terrible shame, embarrassment, and remorse upon my family. They suffered because of what I did, and I'm sorry for that. I apologize to the people of Stoughton and the surrounding communities. As a teenager, I victimized them in so many ways. I robbed from them, I stole from them. I sold marijuana to their kids. Even though I was just a kid, I sold it to their kids. And I murdered people in their community. I feel enormous regret and remorse for the effect my crimes had on my community. I apologize to DC. DC was a year younger than me, and he participated in criminal acts with me. I bought stolen items from him. I sold him marijuana. I sold him a firearm, and I encouraged his criminal activity. My friendship and association with DC were destructive to him, and I'm sorry for the harm and the pain and just all of the destruction that I brought to DC as a teenager. Words alone will never be able to convey the full extent of the harm I caused by my criminal acts. Words alone will likewise never be able to express the profound shame and guilt and remorse I feel, that I will always feel for the harms I've caused. My hope in offering these apologies is to openly, honestly express to each person I've harmed that I understand. And I genuinely regret how each of my actions, how all of my conduct, how all of my behavior has impacted and harmed each one of you, individually, together as a family, and as an entire community. Every day I strive to be a better person, a better citizen, a better member of my community than I was the day before. And I will never again, never victimize, devalue, or fail to appreciate another person, my community, or my fellow man. I thank you for this opportunity to say I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Ships.